Hello, I'm Dr. Jim Van Allen, and welcome to Igniting the Next Generation Empower. I'm so excited that you are joining us for this amazing experience to share positivity, to hear stories, to build a legacy of the future, to impact our students. I'm so excited that you are here to celebrate with us. So I'm Dr. Van Allen. I am the president of the Energy Bus for Schools, which is a program through the John Gordon companies, and we exist to equip schools with the strategies to build a positive culture, energize teachers, empower students, remove negativity. And I get to run that program, work with John Gordon, speak to schools and students around the entire country. I tell you, I am living my dream. And that's important, right? I've always wanted to have an impact, and I'm sure so many of you want to have an impact, and so many of you want your students to have an amazing impact on this world as well. So today I have two simple lessons that I want to share with you as part of our time together. And those two simple lessons are the door and the Maverick. I want you to remember those two words, the door and the Maverick. So I mentioned that I'm the president of Energy Bus for Schools, and I work with John Gordon, and I speak around the nation. Going to be around the world soon. I get to go to China very shortly. And I want to start with the door first, because how do we empower the next generation? We have to tell them that when they are shown a door to an opportunity, they have many different choices, right? When it comes to that said opportunity, they can either knock on the door, and that's fine, right? They can open up the door casually. They may have to beat down the door. They may have to run through the door. And if the door won't open, they may have to build another one and still get into that room. So there are options with moving forward in life. And the reason why I put it that way is because a lot of the opportunities that I've had in my own world that have set me up for huge success, to live my dream, to have an impact, is because a door was presented to me and I had to decide what to do with it. So first instance of that is exactly what I'm doing now, right? Working as the president of Energy Bus for Schools, speaking to schools and companies and organizations across the country. That started out with a simple email, right? I always wanted to be a speaker, and some friends of mine had seen John Gordon, who, at the time, 18 years ago, was an unknown speaker. They had seen him speak at a conference, and they said, "Jim, we know you want to be a speaker. You should reach out." So I emailed him, and we started up an internship my last 2 years of college. And he actually put me in charge of his 30-city book tour around the country as an intern to help plan it and get it off the ground and get people there. And from there, we just sort of blossomed, right? I started speaking to places he couldn't go to. The relationship grew, and from 5 to 10 to 20 to now almost 50 events a year. I've written a book with him. It's been an amazing journey. And why is that related to the door? Because John showed me the door, right? John Gordon showed me that door, the opportunity to get into the speaking world, but I had to decide what to do with it, right? So just because someone shows you the door, right, it means you have to still walk through it, run through it, do what you have to do to get through it. And I tried to make the absolute best of my opportunity, right? I didn't want to squander this amazing, amazing opportunity. So I wanted to honor his commitment to me by being the best speaker and worker I possibly could be. And I still have that rookie-like mentality, 18 years into this unbelievable experience. Additionally, I teach for a university in Florida called Kaiser University. And once again, with the door, right, I had to create that opportunity. After I graduated in 2011 with my master's degree, I wanted to teach at different universities, right? Or teach at a university as an adjunct as I worked on my speaking career with John. And I sent my resume and cover letter out to a bunch of different places. And I was intentional about where I sent it to and who I sent it to at each college. And got one hit back, right? Kaiser University wrote me back and said, "We don't have a job opening right now, but we'll keep your information." When 10 months later, they called me. They had an opening in speech. I went and I interviewed. I did the teaching exercise for them, and I was almost hired on the spot. They needed somebody. They had my information. Once again, that door was shown to me, and I had to make my way through. I had to plow my way through it. I made that opportunity. right? And I think when it comes to that, even if there is no door, you still have to make your own opportunity. You have to build your own door. You have to do something to get to that next level. We can't sit by and have our youth just think things are going to come to them. They have to take personal responsibility and make it happen. And that's something I've really tried to live by. I've tried to make things happen, make speaking engagements happen, further relationships, be intentional with where I'm spending my time. And that's what I would encourage you to have your students and yourselves do as well. One other thing that I really tried to do and really make my own way too is there was an organization in college I was a part of called the Cicerones at the University of Florida. The Cicerones, yes. We were doing the campus tour. We were the ambassadors for the university. We were the social public speaker type. And, very prestigious organization. I didn't know it at the time. Somebody said I should do it. So I did it, right? Little did I know that 800 students apply to be in the organization. You have to go to a meet and greet, and then you go through a big interview series. I had no clue, right, that it was that big of a deal to get into this type of organization. No clue. I didn't know that 800 students apply and they only take 50. Only take 50. That's a 16% acceptance rate. I had no clue. But I wanted to do things a little bit different. So when they went around the circle before we went into our interviews, they were asking people about their special talents. And this is good advice for, students, especially who are looking to get into organizations and jobs and applying for colleges. You have to make yourself stand out, right? You have to build that door sometimes. And they got to me and they stopped. And I said, you know what? My special talent is I can act like Kramer from the hit show Seinfeld. Everybody else saying like, I can sing, I can dance. I said, I can act like Kramer. And I demonstrated it for them. And it was different. And they said, oh, you have to do that for your interview. They said, show them that. They'll love it. So I had nothing to lose, right? I didn't know much about what I was getting myself into. So I did the whole Kramer routine where you open up the door and you slide into the room, right? And I did a little shtick with him. And wouldn't you know, it led to a really amazing interview. But what did I do? I gave them a hook. They remembered me because I did things differently. And I was one of the ones selected to get into the Cicerones organization. And it was an awesome experience. So that's the other part. Right? We talked about the door and making your own way sometimes. But then there's the Maverick, right? And I've always, as you've noticed, love to do things my own way. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as you're in the realm of moral compass and doing things the right way. But I've always wanted to do things a little bit differently. And I want to encourage you, right? Have that rookie-like, Maverick-like mindset. Look at from a public speaking standpoint, from an early age. We're talking about middle school, high school. I always knew I wanted to do something in speaking and really enjoyed it. I really felt alive when I was up in front of people speaking and interacting. And speaking of being the Maverick, in 8th grade, we had to do a country report. And, we only had to speak for 20 minutes on the country. I had Australia and I dressed in like Outback gear. I had an Australian flag behind me. I had props and I went like 50 minutes, more than double the time you had to do. My teacher found it really entertaining. It was funny and I was loose and free and just fun. And then, when it came to high school, I got into leadership organizations and we had to do workshops for students, other student leaders. And while everyone else is doing a traditional, pretty cut and dry leadership workshop, I decided I was going to dress up as 4 different leaders, full costume, act like them, give speeches on them, and inspire the students to sort of want to be like these individuals. Once again, doing things differently. And it was those experiences as a speaker in high school when I was young is when I really started to say, you know what? I think I may have something here. And it was those moments that led me to wanting to be a professional speaker. And now that I am a speaker, I still do things differently, right? I still use props and I still use music and I still have a ton of fun with my audience and I still play games and interact with them and bring them on stage. And to me, that's being different. That's being a Maverick. That's being an independent, creative type thinker. And I want to encourage you to be like that, to have your students have that type of mentality. Be an independent, free thinker. Be a positive, thinker that wants to do things differently, that wants to stand out from the crowd. And I tell you, you will be rewarded for it. My experiences validate that. I've had so many friends that have stood out in job interviews and had amazing experiences in those. And I'm always excited to follow people who sort of, go their own way and carve their own path, and not a traditionalist in any means of the way. And I think there's something to that. So I hope that empowers you today to ignite the next generation, to teach them that, what, even if someone shows you the door, you still have to walk through it. And you know what, if it's not there, be a carpenter, be a builder, build that door and make your own way through this world. Nobody's going to hand you anything. We have to work for it. We have to have that personal responsibility to earn our way, to work our way. Start from the bottom like I did as an intern, and now I'm the president with John Gordon. Wrote a book with him that's a bestseller. It's definitely a whirlwind experience. So that is my hope for you as we get into this today, is show that door, make that door, have this Maverick-like thinking, and develop our students into independent, creative, positive thinkers who are going to impact this world one person at a time, one day at a time, until they're back at this conference, coming back and being the presenters and talking about their experience. So I want to thank you all so very much for listening to my talk here today. Once again, I'm Dr. Jim Van Allen, the president of the Energy Bus for Schools. And you can follow me on social media at Jim Van Allen, VANALLAN. And we'll see you down the road. Thank you so much. Enjoy the ride. Stay positive.